Hello, I'm Lisa Bien, and welcome to Your Best Life with Lisa. Imagine you get home after a long, hard day at work, and all you want to do is collapse on the couch, but the sink is full of dirty dishes and the house is a mess. Now you know you should get up and do something about it, but even thinking about it sends your mind spiraling into an unhappy place and your stomach spinning, so you don't get up. Or you're at work and you know that there are tasks that need to be completed, things you know how to do, things you've done successfully before, but you just don't have the energy to face the work and your colleagues and give it your all, so you put it off. If this sounds like something that you're experiencing, you may be experiencing burnout, and you're not alone. Burnout hits women harder than anyone else. It's so common that the World Health Organization recently added burnout to its international classification of diseases as what it calls an occupational phenomenon. A survey of thousands of Americans found that 2/3 of us experience some degree of burnout on the job. Today, we're going to talk to Joyel Crawford about her experiences with burnout, how she faced it head on and created her best life. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Lisa Bien, and welcome back. Whether you're an empath or not, you have to work at making yourself happy, right? Mm-hmm. It's really about knowing yourself. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is really about knowing yourself. Books, friends, whatever you need, we're all going through stuff. We can all use extra support. You have to be brave enough to admit to yourself that I have the wrong people in my life. Then you have to be brave enough to want to make a change. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Your Best Life with Lisa. Let's welcome Joyel Crawford, is a determined, passionate leadership development consultant who says she grows leaders for a living. As a student, Joyel suffered from stress, but didn't do anything to deal with it. After graduation, she went to work at Verizon Wireless, where for over the next 18 years she rose in the ranks, supporting leaders in all functional groups while working in human resources and leadership development. Throughout her career, Joyel tried to be all things to all people except herself. She put her team and the business above her own health. Eventually, she burned out to the point where she had to leave her successful career. But Joyel regrouped, worked on herself, and eventually, through her new business, Crawford Leadership Strategies, used these lessons learned to help others. Welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited to have you here. But first, before we get started,
Okay.
I want everyone to know your name. I love your name, and it's beautiful, and I want people to understand
where it came from. Well, I'm a child of the 70s. I'm not ashamed to say my age, but I'm a child of the 70s, and I was born 2 pounds, 10 ounces, so I was premature. I was 3 months early, came into this world because I had something to do, and I came into this world way too early.
You were waiting. You were like, I'm coming
out.
on Steve.
Yes.
Maybe that has something to do with your story.
I think that has a lot to do with the story. But yeah, I was so small that they didn't think I was going to survive. And then, as I kept pulling through, the doctors were like, yeah, she's really strong. She's got strong lungs. She's going to pull through. My mom and dad were so filled with joy and love that they named me Joyel.
That is, I just think it's amazing. Do you love your name?
I love it. I do. I have to say, I love it. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, well, I'm so glad that everyone now knows where she came out with this beautiful name because it's so special, just like you.
Oh, thank you.
So, you talk about stress in college, and we do this show right here on a college campus where you can feel the stress because it's the energy is I think finals are looming soon.
Yes.
So, tell me what signs were there that you had a lot of stress? What did you do maybe to help counter that stress at college, or did you ignore it?
I totally, I considered what I was going through typical.
Okay.
No one talks about stress, like we hashtag or, I'm so stressed out or, what have you, but no one really dialogues about stress on a college campus the way I think we should.
But don't you also think that we use the word stress so much? Like we use the word busy. You
right.
know, I'm so stressed, I'm so busy, I'm so tired. We use these words as like badge of honor.
Yes, like a badge of honor. Like busy does not equal productive. Stress does not equal successful. And staying and all-nighters and taking different drugs that are either prescribed or unprescribed, or drinking copious amounts of coffee and caffeine to have that edge, is only prepping us to continue that path to burnout. And it's really something that I think we need to talk about more. Having headaches or being overwhelmed to the point where some people are pushed to doing some things that are not, and I'm not saying I did this, but I witnessed this. Some students are pushed to doing things that aren't as ethical
or
conventional
right.
to getting the work done because they just have to get it all done. Paying people to write papers for them or yeah, what? It happens. I never did this. I'm just saying what I witnessed. But what ended up happening with me is that I got a leadership scholarship. So my role on campus was to be very busy and to be
But you just said something that's really interesting. You just said my role on campus was to be very busy because I got a leadership scholarship.
Yes.
Okay, so what's interesting though is, does leadership mean
busy? That's a good question. That's deep. That's very deep because I was involved in everything.
But think about it, because if you think about what leadership is, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but in my opinion, you're setting the bar. You're setting the example. If you're a leader in the community, you're raising the bar. If you're right,
yeah, and people are looking at you.
Mean
not to make
people
you
are looking at you, but you thought maybe you needed to be busy.
Well, I mean, we were told to be as involved as we possibly could to keep that scholarship going and to keep it live. So we needed to be leaders in different organizations. That's kind of part of the scholarship.
But nobody ever sat down and talked to you and said, but wait a second, we want you to be involved, but we want you to be healthy.
Right. And they never said, oh, and by the way, you still need to keep your grades up. So there's this extra added pressure to work hard and study hard so that you can stay.
Right.
at
So
school.
this is what I say. This is what we do. This sounds like what you did, right? We put this per monkey on our back, so to speak, and we wear it around like a badge of honor. And we're like, I'm so stressed. I have to be busy.
Yes.
I have to
president of this and that, and
so that was your life on campus.
Oh yeah, I was in charge of probably 5 or 6 different organizations. I was president of the Residence Hall Association, Safe Rides. I was actively involved in my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So I was involved in that. I was involved in Dandelion Theater, which was the kind of like after-school special theater group. I was involved in musical theater.
Okay,
I'm
exhausted.
An honor student. I was doing it all because it was kind of like this. It was almost the cycle of success was like fuel. It was like a drug almost, that adrenaline rush of getting all that stuff done and doing it more. I wanted more of it. So I wanted all of that. And
there's nothing wrong, but is there something wrong with that? I mean,
there's
nothing wrong with
it,
that,
but
right?
when it's at your expense.
Right.
So I was doing.
Did you recognize that at college?
Oh, no.
Okay,
No.
so at college you were Superwoman.
I had a bit of a situation at one of my my summer jobs where this was the hint to burnout. I had the worst cabin in the world, and I was put in charge of it because I was a leader. My last time working there at the camp, so I was in charge of this whole entire age group. And
what age group was that?
It was like 12, 13.
Okay.
And they were swinging from the rafters.
Right,
literally swinging from the rafters. And I realized I can't do all of this. And that was my first hint at burnout, but I didn't know it. I just thought, oh, well, I just can't handle these out of control teenagers. And I went to speak to the counselor on campus when I got back to campus, and the counselor was talking to me about things, and we learned about managing things, but I just kind of yesed her to get out of going to this therapy session. And I was like, I've got things to do.
Oh, they wanted you to go to therapy at that point.
Yeah. They were like, oh, yeah, you got to talk to somebody. I was like, no, I don't have time to talk to anybody.
Probably what they did is they put you in this group and said, here you go, manage these, 13-year-olds?
Yes.
And they didn't give you any life skills. They didn't give you any instruction.
No tools, no nothing.
Well, that I think is unfortunate in general. Kids go to college today and their parents go, bye.
Right.
Come back and know what your major is and do really well and make us proud. And oh, by the way, how are you gonna get a job part time?
Yes.
So you can pay for your education.
It's also 50-50.
Really challenging.
Yeah. So there was a lot of that was all of that, but I wasn't understanding that there were resources being given to me to help me guide me through these transitions and the overwhelm and the stress. And I just kind of played through, because I'm an actress as well. So I just pretended that everything was great, and I figured out everything and pounced out of that
so what I like
therapy
to say
session.
What I like to say is you were wearing your mask.
Yes.
And your cape, your Superwoman cape.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people on social media and they post that, I'm wearing my Superwoman cape today and I'm going to get it all done.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, you want your badge of honor? You're not getting it from me, because I'm going to just lay on my couch on Sundays and chill.
Just veg out.
We talked about that, right?
Yeah, and we don't have the same. I mean, I hate to sound like a old lady, but when I was in college, the internet was just coming out.
When I was in college, we didn't even have the internet.
We had computer rooms, like we didn't have a computer in our room. Like I had a word processor with a screen this big. So like these things, like having to show yourself on social media, that wasn't there.
Right.
That visibility was just, face-to-face contact and what we told people. So I didn't have the same pressures that students have right now, but there are resources.
There's so many resources, and today you're wearing your mask of, I love what you said. You were like, I'm an actress, so I was just acting. And I think that there's probably a lot of students watching the show, whoever's watching the show, that think about that. We act, we pretend that we're okay, or we're not paying attention to the signs that we need to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, and talk about it. My mom was a therapist for 40 years, and I couldn't come home and tell her, Mom, I'm struggling. Like, I'm really...
Why is that? I want to talk about that, because that's really important, because I think it's so important that you go home and you talk about if you're struggling. You talk to your parents or your professors or whoever is in your life. You have to talk and say, I'm struggling, because that's so critical. Just getting that out.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Well, because I didn't want to seem weak. And, they sent me and I'm rocking it out. I'm hitting all my grades. I'm involved in all of these things. They can brag about me more, when the holidays come, right? So you have all of this. It's just, again, it's this cycle of like.
But you put that monkey. It is a cycle.
It
is a drug, but
addictive.
you also put that.
I did.
That monkey on your back. You were like, Mom and Dad can brag about me more, so I'm going to keep going. This is great.
Absolutely.
And we all fall into that, and we are going to continue our conversation with Joyel Crawford when we come right back on Temple TV, University Television.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included, and I knew that I was going to be okay.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision. Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent.
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Welcome back. We are here talking with Joyel Crawford about her personal struggles, confronting burnout, and her know-how to rekindle her best life. Well, we started out talking about being at college, right?
Yes.
So you graduate college,
Yes.
and you're now Superwoman.
Yes.
You're scared to admit that I need a little help. So you just continue on this path of I'm going to be Superwoman, and you go to your corporate position
Yes,
for how many
right
years?
as soon as I graduated, I went into business with Bell Atlantic Mobile, which became Verizon Wireless at 18 years.
Wow.
So I started answering phones, and I realized every day that I started to go to work, I was getting sick. I like to say that I started my career in the toilet, because every day I was getting sick. I wasn't knowing what was going on. I was starting to feel I was physically ill every day, and I thought, okay, maybe this is normal. Maybe it's because I'm just, anxious about my big girl job, and I just got out of college. And again, these high expectations that I was putting on myself, 4 years of that, well, probably more than that, on top of all these other expectations that I was putting on myself. I needed to be the best, call taker. I needed to do everything tip-top, perfect. So that type A personality kept
from one
building
type
itself.
A to another type A. I think we all do that. I think we all say like, oh, this is normal. Like lately I've noticed I've been getting a few more extra headaches, and someone recently said to me like, why do you think you're getting more headaches? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I think I need to just rest a little bit more. So I've been doing that. So you're at your job and you're getting sick. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think it's important that we note and we stop on the show and talk about that. You graduated college. I love what you said. You graduated college and then you took a job answering phones. So, because there's a lot of kids today.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of kids today, they think, graduate college and you're going to make $1 million.
CEO.
And you're going to be the CEO.
Yeah,
It doesn't work that way.
No.
You got to work hard. You got to
no.
climb your corporate ladder, and
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like you did.
Yeah. I took the stairs. I didn't take the elevator. I took the stairs.
It is not
easy. And I knew, though, that day when I started there, the person in front of the classroom who was training and teaching and welcoming us to the company, that's what I wanted to do. And so I had that goal in mind, and I was like, what do I need to do to get to that job? And I think that that's a key piece in goal setting. And so I had that in mind, and so I did all these different things to get there.
You wanted to get
I
there.
knew I wanted to get there, and that was in HR and learning and development, and so
it's another good point you're talking about, right? So you graduated, you're like a chock full of nuts of good information.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You
Yes.
and then you're like, wait, I want that job.
Yeah.
That's the job I want.
First
and
day
I'm
of
gonna get it.
work, and I'm
First day of
like,
work.
I don't want to do this, I want to do that. So,
But I think it's important to note what you said is that you have to have a goal.
yeah.
You had a goal. Now, did you create a plan to get there?
Yeah, I started talking to people, but I was doing everything, again, being everything to everybody, and ignoring the physical signs of what was going on, because I was like, go away, kid. Like, almost like, it was annoying, getting sick every day, having migraines, being tired, just like you said at the beginning of the show, dreading, having those Sunday scaries, like dreading going to work on Monday, dreading to go to work, and it was just, got to do this so we can get to the goal.
Now, let's just be clear. There are some times that, you got your Sunday scaries. You don't have to be completely overwhelmed. I mean, like, there are times where we're like, oh, really, I got to go to work tomorrow, right? But so take us up a little forward, because if you and I talk, we could be here all day. And
I know. So once I got into my dream job, I started to
Did you feel like you made it?
I felt like I made it, but I needed to make it even better. There's always
There's
a
always
higher
the next
gear, there's
level.
another level. But I also was needing support, and I needed help, and I wasn't getting that from the team that I was working with. And so I kept looking for other ways to make my square peg of leadership fit in that round hole in the organization.
At this point of your career, you're still thinking that leadership needs to be
Busy.
Leadership does not mean busy.
Yeah.
I think that's really important to think about. And being busy doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. It just means you're just that.
It's just busy and burned out. And I started to, I think I started to realize that there was something quite wrong when I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning typing on my pillow.
Yeah,
I was typing an email on my pillow.
It's not funny, but I was like, I mean, I've been a little crazy in my day.
But that's a bit bizarre.
So you woke up in the middle of the night thinking you do work. So obviously you worked in your bedroom.
I was working, I was typing on my pillow, and then I realized I wasn't sleeping well. I was having a lot of physical issues. I was going to the doctor more than just the annual visit. And
so the sickness was taking over.
It was taking
It was
over.
like, it's almost like we become so, we can't focus on anything but that.
And then so what I ended up doing was finally asking for help. And I had a team. I had like my A team. and they were my caregivers, my doctor, my therapist, my psychiatrist.
So
yeah.
Number one, what did it feel like to ask for help?
It was a very humbling experience, and I felt like I was less than. So I will say that I felt very, very embarrassed about me,
Why do we do that to ourselves?
Well,
we all do it.
And I'm a daughter of a therapist, so I figure I could handle my stuff. I can handle my stuff on my own, right? I could therapy myself. So no,
Well, we all think we can handle it.
That's not how it works.
But I think it's so interesting because we all do that. We do it to each other.
Yeah.
Like when we fight, and I think we need to get that message out that it's good to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's imperative to ask for help, and that you're not weak.
Yeah.
And everybody at different points of their life needs help.
Everybody needs help. And I also learned that I needed to start doing acts of mindfulness to kind of tune in to what was going on, because all these years of layers of avoidance, my busyness was avoiding the problem. And the problem was that I was tired and that I was being all things to all people except for myself. And so that was some of the things that I learned from my care team, is that I was burning out.
You speak of a care team, so just for, I'm not really 100% sure what a care team is. I'm assuming that.
It's the name I gave,
Okay, so it's the name that you gave to the folks that kind of put their arms around you, that big blanket of love and your support system.
My friends that I could depend on, my family members, the medical people. I started collecting doctors because the more I kept ignoring my health conditions, my body had started to internalize the stress so much that my body started breaking down and I was dying. So I realized that I needed to start listening, because I felt like, again, I came here 3 months early because I had something to do. So I needed to make sure that I took care of myself so that I could help take care of the people that I need to.
Well, I'm glad that you were taking care of yourself. So when you say you were dying,
I was physically having problems that were causing me to be very ill, to not be able to work.
So by waiting, do you wish in some regard that you had said that you would have asked for the help a little sooner?
I do, of course. Hindsight is 20/20. So I always think, I wish I'd asked for help sooner. I wish I hadn't lied to my therapist in college. I wish I had talked to my mother a little bit more. Now
Say that again. I wish I had talked to my mother a little bit more, because your mother, your aunt, your whoever is there for you.
Yes, I wish I had really just come up and talked about it, because I think, we actually had a conversation about it, and she's like, I'm sorry for setting up this, I learned it from watching her. She was very busy in the community. I know, I hate to say it, it's not her fault.
No, I know
but
what you mean there, and I'm thinking what I might be doing.
Yeah, you learn from what you see, and I saw her rocking it out and cranking it out at her own expense. And it's a cycle, and it needs to stop. So I learned to I call it RISE. So the methodology is to reflect, identify, strategize, and execute. So reflect back on what you're seeing, what's put me here, identify what steps you need to take, strategize those steps in SMART goals, manageable small goals, like I need to meditate. So my therapist was like, you need to meditate. I was like, you understand, I'm a type A person. I don't like to sit still.
You and I should do yoga.
Sitting still means lazy and non-productive, right? So I was like, okay, well, let me strategize how I'm going to do this. So I set an alarm on my calendar to go off at random points of the day, and just said, be still. And it's just that little step, and then you execute. You take the step, you act on it, and then you're able to rise. And so that's what I learned from burning out, is to rise from that.
Well, I think that we learn from everything, right, in life. I think people are always like, what's the secret? There's that book, The Secret. And I'm always like, yeah, there's not really a secret. Like, you have to learn from the adversity in our life. We have to learn, and you're helping people rise every day, like your energy, and
Thank you.
It's amazing. So if people want to learn more about you or contact you, how can they reach out to you?
Oh, well, they can reach out to me by finding me on my website, www.clsnext.com, or
CLS
Next.
Next.
Yep, so it's Crawford Leadership Strategies,
Okay.
Next. joyelcrawford.com, or find me on Instagram at Joyel Crawford, or on LinkedIn, or on Facebook. I'm everywhere. So wherever you want to find me, you can find me. I'm the only Joyel Crawford out there. I'm the only bald, beautiful black woman out there that's by name. So
Perfect.
I'm doing it.
Well, thank you. My thanks to our guest, Joyel Crawford, for sharing her experiences and insights. Increasing employer expectations leads to unmanaged stress, leaving many of us with the belief that they need to do more and just keep up. And added to responsibilities at home, many of us find it so much harder to navigate our everyday lives and to find the will and the energy to get through each day. Burnout damages the individual, their families, the companies they work for, and the employees. Recognizing and overcoming burnout requires us to take a hard look at our own lives and the changes we need to make. They lead us to go down an unhealthy path. If you find yourself increasingly cynical about your workplace, increasingly disillusioned if you're drinking or using any substance more and more just to get through the day, or if your sleep habits have changed, you may be suffering from burnout. Please do not ignore these symptoms. We need each of you to be agents of change in your own lives. Recognize that we have to take care of ourselves and our own needs, and not just the needs of others, whether you're at home or at work. Make sure you take the steps necessary to regain the power over your day-to-day life and start your journey back from burnout to a healthier mind and a healthier life. Your Best Life with Lisa. I'm Lisa Bien, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Your Best Life with Lisa. Hello, I'm Lisa Bien, and welcome back. Whether you're an empath or not, you have to work at making yourself happy, right? It's really about knowing yourself. A lot of it is really about knowing yourself. Books, friends, whatever you need. We're all going through stuff. We can all use extra support. You have to be brave enough to admit to yourself that I have the wrong people in my life. Then you have to be brave enough to want to make a change.